Chapter 4. Why Short Books Work. Quote, "Persuasion is achieved by the speaker's personal character when the speech is so spoken as to make us think him credible. We believe good men more fully and more readily than others. This is true generally whatever the question is, and absolutely true where exact certainty is impossible and opinions are divided." End quote. Aristotle. For 13 years, I have been working to solve the puzzle of what makes someone buy, especially at the high-ticket premium level. How do you take a stranger from, "I don't know you or even know if I need you," all the way to, "Wow, $15,000 is really cheap for what you're offering. Where do I sign?" After having scaled multiple clients' businesses and a few of my own, here's what I know so far. Every prospect needs 6 major questions answered clearly and truthfully before they'll pay higher prices. The best way to answer these questions is through a short, comprehensive book that delivers results in advance. In later chapters, we'll explore the delivers results in advance concept. For now, let's explore the 6 major questions prospects will be asking themselves before they buy your premium offers. I'll show you how to use a short book to answer these questions in profound ways and get your prospect pre-sold on your offer before they ever talk to you. Question number 1. Is this right for me? As the person selling your thing, it's obvious that what you have is what your prospect needs. For prospects, however, it's not so simple. All potential buyers have a certain amount of fear about buying, which can manifest itself as doubt, trepidation, second-guessing, lack of confidence, feet-dragging, irrational behavior, etc. Buyers doubt themselves because they've made bad choices in the past. They doubt your product because they don't understand it. Doubt is the natural state of a prospect. Accept it, learn from it, do something about it. In my mind, the book is the most disarming, natural, and effective way to persuade someone into believing in themselves, your offer, and the future you can provide for them. Books are honest when written correctly. They are trustworthy by name alone. They are not a webinar or lead magnet or other marketing trick in prospects' minds. They are a real thing, a value offer. For us, a book is a powerful tool for belief change. When people's beliefs change, they carry a tremendous amount of momentum with them towards action. It manifests itself as excitement, commitment, and eagerness, the perfect set of buying behaviors. Example: when was the last time you read a book that changed your life? For most entrepreneurs, it was books like Think and Grow Rich, or The 4-Hour Workweek, or The $100 Startup, that changed pre-existing belief structures about what work and income could look like, and sent them on a journey of change. For me, it was reading The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy while I was homeless that catapulted me from living on the streets to making $100,000 less than a year later. It's not an accident that the beginning of a major change in many people's lives starts with reading a book. Religious books, self-help books, fitness and health books, parenting books. In every aspect of life, books are used as jumping-off points to major growth and change. There is a certain trust that readers give the written word. They surrender themselves to it. They embrace it. They absorb it. It's certainly more effective than half listening to a webinar with multiple tabs open while you check your email. When was the last time a webinar changed your life so much you sent it to half your family for Christmas? Exactly. There is a reverence and openness with books that no other marketing tool can replicate. When you write your short book, you'll be able to tap into openness and show what you can do to help people. The best books that work within the One Book Millions method are the ones that inspire and educate, the ones that don't hold back in serving the reader. You don't need a PhD in writing to be able to pull that off either. In fact, all you need is a purpose for the book. What do you want the reader to get from it? In my case, I want you to see the power of what a book can do in your business and life, the doors it can open, the way it could radically transform your business if you let it. My goal, of course, is for you to become a client of mine eventually. However, I know the first thing I have to do is help you answer the question of whether the One Book Millions method is right for you. Is this right for your personality, your business, your goals, your current state of being? The book is the tool where I get to hold nothing back, explain what I know, share my passion, and hopefully inspire you to make this strategy part of your life too. It doesn't require fancy copywriting, just an honest understanding that you, my prospect, need this question answered before we'll ever get to work together. If I do it correctly, by offering you results in advance, by holding nothing back, you will find this book to become a jumping-off point for a new direction in your life. Many readers of this book will go on to scale their businesses to $100,000 per month or more, find more peace and happiness, regain control and consistency, and even be inspired to find new ways to improve other areas of their business. This isn't an accident. It's what a book can do, because a good book can show people that this is, in fact, right for them. But let me play devil's advocate for a second. What if the book turns someone off? What if they read the book and realize that this method isn't for them? Isn't that bad? Nope. Again, this book did its job. The first sign of a mature business owner is when they recognize that they aren't the right fit for everyone. Not everyone who reads this book is someone I can or even want to help. By definition, it means a certain portion of the readership will read this book and realize this system just isn't for them. Good. It means my pipeline won't get filled with time wasters or foot draggers. The book itself becomes the filter. A book is like an in-depth sales conversation you can have with hundreds of people per day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never takes vacations. It never complains. It moves people towards your premium offers day in and day out. Question number 2. Can I trust this information? Prospects don't just need to trust you as a person. They need to trust the specific information they are receiving. I can trust you as a person, but also know when you're BSing a story on a Friday night at the bar just to impress someone. Prospects are the same way. Imagine yourself on a train, and you need to get off at a certain stop to attend an important meeting. In Portland, where I live, on the side of our trains, we have a map of the various stops along the way. I might trust the conductor of the train. I might trust the city even. But if I don't trust the map that has been provided to me, it's tough for me to commit to exiting the train at a certain stop. What a book does better than any other marketing device is to deliver information in an easy-to-verify system. For example, later in this book, we will be doing some verification of the One Book Millions Method strategy through some simple mathematical exercises, client case studies, and other information. I will be putting you through various exercises in this book that will allow you to check and prove the strategies that I've laid out for yourself. You can independently verify what I'm saying to find out if it's true. Think back to the early part of this book, where I had you do success check-ins. Did any light bulbs go off? Did you generate ideas you wouldn't have otherwise? Did you get a more clear vision of your future? That's you verifying the information for yourself. You're beginning to shape an idea in your mind that the information in this book might actually be helpful. By association, if the information in this book is helpful, then maybe the author, yours truly, is helpful too. That cycle can and ought to repeat itself multiple times throughout a single book. For example, if you wanted to grow a coaching business that taught productivity and success skills, you could have a short book which included exercises that would help people to create a better morning routine. A routine they could implement straight away and start to see results for themselves quickly. You don't have to give away the farm for this to work either. You don't have to give away your best coaching. But if you were able to help someone test your teachings and theories in a very small area of their morning routine, then by the end of them consuming the book and putting it into action, they will have proven the information that you gave them. And when they prove the information you provide, they prove you as a source for improvement and someone who can help change their lives. This is how you get booked calendars full of people who already trust you, already want to buy from you, and make the very best clients and customers. This is the philosophy of results in advance. Another example from this book. In later chapters, I'm going to teach you how to come up with good book ideas, how to outline your book, and even how to start getting your book written. How does that help me turn you into a client or customer of my other stuff? As you go through the process and see how easy it is to create a book of your own, which is often the biggest hurdle for people using this method, the act of you starting your book is the act of you testing the information. and that moves you one step closer to trusting me. The best part about following this strategy in your book creation process is that you can build trust even if you don't have case studies yet. As long as you can get people results in advance, they'll trust you better than you blabbing on a webinar, sharing fake screenshots hoping for a sale. As one of my earliest mentors said, if you want people to believe you can help them, help them. A good book allows people to verify the information you are presenting in advance. By the time they show up to your sales calls, they've already decided this is the right thing for them. Question number 3. Is this good value for the money? I've been a copywriter for more than 13 years, and I can tell you that most people overcomplicate proving their value. Here's the most simple strategy for proving that what you do is valuable. Write a book that is full of what you know about the thing you do. Don't hold back. Over-deliver in the book. And don't be shy in telling people how difficult and complicated it is. Example: if you have ever tried to lose weight, you know that weight loss methods are quite simple on the surface. Fewer calories in than calories out, intermittent fasting, exercise, etc. However, you also know that the actual act of executing on that information is difficult. This explains the role of a billion-dollar industry called personal trainers. They are the individuals who close the gap between the information and the execution. Personal trainers exist because people already have access to the information. Think about that. Personal trainers rarely provide new information. They are there to close the gap between information and execution. That means a personal trainer could pour her heart and soul into 30 different books, but her services would still be in need. People would still need her to close that gap. If you are a coach, freelancer, agency owner, service provider, or a course creator that gets people results, you need to be writing books. Give people the information, then offer to close the gap. The more information you provide, the wider the gap seems, and the more they need you. This is why books are so powerful. You don't have to hold back on any information about what you do, and you will have, in fact, proven the value of what you do by demonstrating that gap. I can promise you that many readers of the One Book Millions Method book will be so inspired by the ideas that they'll rush off to execution and get it done mode. I can also promise that many of them will quickly realize that they like the idea more than they like the execution part. That's where my team and I can step in. This isn't trickery. This isn't scamming people by giving them information and then them struggling to execute on it. This is just the reality of how the world works. It's how the empires of people like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, and others were able to build so fast. Give them information to inspire, motivate, and begin the process of change. Then, when they need extra help, help them. When you get your books into the hands of enough people each day, eventually enough of them will want help to keep you plenty busy and scaled as a company. If you have spent a lot of time becoming excellent at something, no matter how much information you give me, it will still be tremendously harder for me to do what is easy for you to do. This gap is where you can make a significant amount of money. Share the information and offer to help them execute. What the book does very, very well is allow you to deliver a significant amount of information more effectively than nearly any other medium. It's better than webinars, it's better than podcasts, it's better than blog posts. Because when people purchase a book, they tend to consume it more mindfully than any other communication source. In other words, the likelihood of the information you provide in a short book being consumed and then acted upon is significantly higher than nearly any traditional marketing media. Question number 4. Can I trust this person? One of the best pieces of advice I ever got in my career was to provide value in advance with zero secret agenda. This is why I like the book much more than a webinar. A webinar always has a secret agenda. Always. It is specifically structured with a secret agenda in mind. Sure, it says free training on the landing page, but really, it should say, sign up for my free sales pitch. If you've taken any of the major webinar trainings from any of the webinar gurus, you've likely come away with some resistance towards the fact that you pitch it secretly as free training. Then, towards the end, surprise them with the sale. With a short book, we can go into the content creation process with zero secret agenda needed. Using the One Book Millions Method funnel, which I'll teach you more about later on in this book, you could create an entire book without a single call to action, delivering only value, and still come away with higher conversion rates on those calls than any webinar that has ever been produced. This is the fastest way to stand out in your marketplace that I know of, to be known for adding value first. Here's an important lesson I've learned over the years. Shady tactics attract shady clients and customers. If you're like me, you just don't have time for the drama or shadiness that some clients and customers bring to the table. The headaches, the worry, the stress, not worth it. If you become the person who provides value in advance, you'll attract those kinds of individuals yourself. I am constantly receiving gifts from prospects. Yes, I said prospects, not clients, who want to work with me and are the kind of people who start relationships with value in advance. In the online world, most people lack trust in business owners and marketers because so many business owners and marketers are trying to hide something. They use bait-and-switch tactics rather than straightforward, value-based marketing. Again, the fastest way to stand out in your market is to actually care about the people you are marketing to. One way to care is to create a book that actually helps them. Get it in their hands using paid traffic, and then invite them to the next steps once they've read and explored for themselves what you can offer. But perhaps more than any of this value-add stuff, one excellent reason books work is because it takes work and time to consume as a reader. There is more investment than a webinar or podcast, which could be listened to while driving or sending emails. A reader has to work at absorbing and understanding the language. Even a short book might take an afternoon to read. Most scammy marketers will say, an afternoon is too long. Get them into a phone call within 45 minutes after the stomp down. I disagree, but probably not for the reasons that seem obvious. When you are scaling a company, the biggest drain of your resources, time, and money will be foot draggers, freebie seekers, and time wasters. They eat up your support inbox. They waste time on the phone, and they extract resources. Personally, I want it to be kind of hard to buy from me. Not too hard, but I like having prospects at least put in the work of reading a book, of spending 2 or 3 hours working towards understanding what I have to offer. I know it sounds arrogant, but think about it. What if everyone you ever got on the phone with was already prepared to get serious? What if they had pages of notes from the book you created for them? What if your sales call days were filled with people who had already spent a few hours working on getting to know you through reading your book? See, most people think that the key to scaling a business is to do more. Get more customers, get more clients, have more calls. I've learned it's the opposite. Have fewer calls with better prospects. Raise your prices so you can take on fewer clients. Better filter out the non-serious prospects so you can actually raise your prices and deliver better results for the few clients who do qualify. So, the book as a tool for getting to know you is a two-way street. The reader can find out if they like how you think and if they believe you can help them. And you get to filter out the people who are serious versus the ones who aren't. Question number 5. Are the benefits clear enough to justify this purchase to my spouse? Here's a hopefully helpful revelation. Sane people don't make major purchases alone. Whether you are selling coaching for $5,000 or copywriting for $25,000, it is rare for the person with the credit card or the checkbook to make a purchase of that magnitude without first consulting somebody for advice and approval. Maybe it's their spouse, or maybe it's their business partner, manager, friend, or a coach. I would guesstimate that more than 60% of any market will not make purchases of more than $5,000 without first consulting someone outside the sales conversation that they trust. Here's what that means for you. On paper, you might have the most beautiful sales presentation of all time. You might be able to wonderfully present yourself on a webinar or a video sales letter, and your prospect might even grasp what you are saying generally enough to be motivated to purchase at that moment. However, if they cannot clearly and succinctly make a case for your product to their spouse, manager, or team, then you will never get that sale. In other words, if your prospect can't drill your offer down into a few key sentences and make a solid presentation to the person they trust, you've lost the sale. Take a moment to think that through and let the impact sink in. How many sales have you lost over the years after someone had a great conversation with you? You were so confident they were going to buy, and then they came back and said, "I talked to so-and-so, and I don't think this is right for me now." Here's what actually happened in that exchange. Your prospect tried and failed to sell your service or offer to someone who didn't also watch that webinar, listen to that podcast, or consume the sales message. Because the trusted advisor wasn't there, they didn't get it. What makes a short book so incredible at counteracting this common occurrence is two things. First, books force you to make your ideas concise and clear. Don't worry, even if you aren't a writer, books can work for you, because hiring an editor to make your ideas concise is cheap. I'll share more resources about that later. Let me give you a quick example from this book to show you what I mean by concise and clear ideas. Remember back to the very first part of this book, where I told you what this book was going to be about, drilled down to just a few points. Point number 1. For more than 100 years, books have been proven to be the number one scalable sales asset for building trust, authority, and filling your pipeline with pre-qualified prospects. Point number 2. The more people that read your book, the more money you'll make, even if you mess up every other part of your business. Point number 3. The best way to sell 100 plus copies of your book per day is the One Book Millions method found in this book, which just so happens to sell more than 150 copies per day itself. There is a reason I took the trouble to outline those points. I want you to be able to understand exactly what we're talking about here, to the point where you could explain it to your spouse without skipping a beat. When I work with my clients to create their books, we do this same thing. It not only helps you create a powerful book, but it helps other people sell your concepts better too. Second, a book can be gifted. The best part about a book is that it can do the talking for you. And it even does the talking for your prospect who needs to sell your ideas to their trusted advisor. You can see this in your own buying behavior. How many times have you told someone to check out a book that you enjoyed? I would bet that it's significantly more times than you have ever told someone to go check out a webinar that you've watched. It is culturally normal behavior to share books. It is culturally abnormal and weird to share sales presentations, such as webinars or VSLs. Many clients of mine report stories of their prospects sitting down and reading their book together with their spouse, and the couple coming up with the conclusion together to purchase my client's coaching services. This is common in parenting and relationship niches. In highly competitive and skeptical niches like online marketing, the book can become a tool your prospects use to pass around and get outside opinions. While they're trying to make a buying decision, you're getting more and more exposure for free. A well-written book is a tool that does all your selling for you. It's also a tool that has a history that people respect. Unless your book hook is something wildly taboo, it's likely your prospects have no shame or embarrassment in sharing it with the ones they trust. Now tell me, are there any other sales tools quite like that? Question number 6. What are my options, really? One of the byproducts of a well-written short book is the truth. Example. In this book, I will not sugarcoat anything about the One Book Millions method. I don't have to, for reasons we've already discussed. In fact, the next chapter you'll read is about why you probably shouldn't write a book. I'm here to show you all the pros and cons. I can do this because, again, I have no secret agenda in what happens as a result of you reading this work. My number one goal is to create a book of value. I will earn so much more money if you like this book enough to share with a few friends, and those friends share it, and they share it, etc., than if I were to try and trick you into buying something from me. You don't have to write your book as a sales letter. Just write a good book. The rest of the One Book Millions method takes care of moving readers into sales calls and eventually into clients. Therefore, because I have chosen the short book as my sales tool, I can be upfront and realistic about the other options you have, besides working with me, or following the method I will teach you in this book. I can do this for several reasons. 1. I sell more than 100 of these per day. Yet, I can only take on 4 private clients a month, and 1 or 2 group coaching clients per day. 2. What I am selling is very valuable, and my team and I are very good at what we do. We take pride in doing hard things, and are happy to share the ups and downs. We don't need or want to sugarcoat what we do. It devalues what we've struggled over long months and longer hours to develop. 3. I can tell you what your options are because I want to be your number one option. I don't want to work with people who hired me because the other guy wasn't available. I've done enough work for clients like that, and it's no fun. Instead, I want to work with people who want to work with me. Giving the reader options does exactly that. Being open and honest in your book about your reader's options for solving a problem you can fix is the best way to filter through bad prospects and time wasters. Think of it this way. If someone comes to you for a sales call and then says, "I need to do a bit more research," comes to you for a second call and says, "I'm still looking at options," comes to you for a third call and says, "I just need to talk to one more person before I make a decision," comes to you for a fourth call, etc., etc. How productive is that process when you could have given them all of their options in full and honest transparency inside of your short book? I am obsessed with efficiency. I want to do the least amount of work for the most amount of reward. Wasting time on sales calls with people who still need to do research is a giant waste of time. It robs the good prospects of time to book on your calendar, and it wastes your time chasing leads that are not yet ready to buy. I can tell you that ever since we adopted the One Book Millions method into our business, we have very few phone calls where we're having to delay a decision based on someone needing to do research. If what you do helps people, there is zero moral or ethical reward in delaying the help that you provide. In fact, you could argue that you have a moral and ethical obligation to help people as quickly as humanly possible. You should feel a sense of urgency to filter through and find those few perfect fits so you can help them as quickly as possible. If this past year has taught us anything, you never know what tomorrow will bring, so do your good work today. Can all of this really be done with just 100 to 150 pages? We just explored 6 major questions that all prospects need answers for before they'll purchase. Naturally, the most common question I get in response is, can a short book of only 100 pages really answer those questions and move someone into becoming a client or customer of our premium offers? To answer that, let's look at some examples that you can test for yourself to see the power of a short book and the kinds of miracles it can work. Example number 1. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, 104 pages. This book has sold millions of copies and has been in print for decades. It is the foundational work that inspired Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, and others to develop the self-help genre and expand on the idea that humans can improve. Hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, artists, and other creators, movers, and shakers cite this book as the work that inspired them to greatness. Seminars, coaching programs, even therapies have been sold to the readers of this book. The total net income generated from this short book likely reaches beyond $100 million and more. And yet, it was written by someone who hadn't yet experienced success and only came out to 104 short pages. Example number 2. Spencer Johnson's Who Moved My Cheese, 95 pages. Another example of a short book revolutionizing an entire industry. In this case, management practices and people management. An entire generation adopted new philosophies and ideas regarding motivation and working with others to accomplish goals. This book's impact across the corporate structure of major corporations is being felt now more than ever. Again, another book that has generated hundreds of millions of dollars with less than 100 pages. Example number 3. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, 80 pages. Written hundreds of years ago, this book has stood the test of time and seen a resurgence in popular culture thanks to authors like Ryan Holiday advocating for Stoicism. Imagine writing a book that has lasted longer than empires, corporations, and even ideas. All it took was 80 pages. Example number 4. Karl Marx's The Communist Manifesto, 40 pages. A short and simple book that has influenced movements, revolutions, millions of deaths, and has again seen a resurgence in recent years. Regardless of where you land politically, it's impossible to ignore the influence these 40 pages have had on world history. I use this only as an example to shake your belief that it requires hundreds of pages to convince someone of an idea. I would ask you, is what you offer more complicated or nuanced than a state-run system of economics and government? I bet it's not. And Marx was able to convince millions of his complex ideas in just 40 pages. You can probably convince a few people who need your help in about 100 pages or less. Here's a list of other influential books under or around 100 pages in length. Animal Farm by George Orwell. Lessons of History by Will and Ariel Durant. The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. The Constitution of the United States by the Founding Fathers. Martin Luther's 95 Theses by Martin Luther. Poetics by Aristotle. On Dreams by Sigmund Freud. Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. The list could go on and on. This doesn't count books that are 150 pages, or books that have been self-published in the last 20 years, or books that I haven't even read yet. But one thing is clear from looking at this list. The length of a book does not dictate the impact that it can have. Each of these books has influenced millions of people in one way or another. Each of them has changed beliefs in the reader. Each of them has created change and motivation in readers. The good news for you is that you don't need to influence millions to make millions. If you price your offers right, you really only need to influence a small number of people each month. In my business, I only need 4 people per month to be influenced enough by this book that they'll let me write their book for them, build their funnel, and guarantee their profit. Just 4. That gives me $2.5 million per year in business. 4 people per month out of 150 books sold per day, and my business gives me everything I want. Now, imagine this for yourself. Just take a second to play the odds in your mind. Do you think if you had help, you could share ideas in a book that, if sold at enough volume, could convince enough people to give you the income, influence, and business of your dreams? I bet it could. In fact, I haven't seen it fail yet, and I've been doing this for a few years, working in multiple niches and markets. You don't have to take my word for any of this either. Go look at those books on Amazon, read their reviews, read them yourself, and discover how powerful a short, easy-to-consume book can be. Now, look at the reviews for webinars or VSLs, or any of the other marketing stuff that people are doing these days. Ever seen the comments section of a Facebook ad for a free webinar? Not exactly glowing reviews, right? Again, this is the difference that a short book in your business could make. But Mike, what about mega authors like Tim Ferriss? His books are hundreds of pages long. True, his books are door-stopping monsters. They also sell really, really well. At the time of this writing, his Tools of Titans book has more than 4,500 reviews and has sold millions of copies. You can't argue with success and results, but there's one small catch, and it looks like this. This is Tim's book condensed into 13 minutes of reading. It's from an app called Blinkist, and it's proof of something important. You see, Blinkist has more than 7 million active users, all paying a monthly fee to have nonfiction books condensed to only their best bits and delivered in audio and print format to your phone. Each month, they add 50 new works of nonfiction. They are growing their monthly users at an alarming rate, and it only took 4 months for them to get their first 1 million readers. What does this all mean? Nonfiction readers want short. You can't deny the reality that people are busy, attention spans are short, and if someone can get information faster, they will. It's to their advantage to learn more quickly and get to the point. This is why I recommend you write a short book instead of trying to write a Tim Ferriss saga. Maybe someday, after you've built up a readership of millions with your short work, you can spend 3 years at a keyboard writing your epic 950-page manifesto. But for now, short will do. Here's the secret to short books that work. Consumption equals transformation. If you want people to fall in love with you, they first need to consume your stuff. So let me ask you a question. How many 600-page books have you read this month? How about this year? How about ever? Even James Patterson, the highest-selling author of all time, has realized that short books are where the money is. In the last few years, he has launched a new concept called BookShots, which has been very profitable. They are 150-page books of fiction that read like a movie. Think about that for a moment. The best-selling author of all time is making a move to shorter, quicker reads. As my mentor Jim Rohn says, success leaves clues. James Patterson does more than $50 million a year with his books. I'm going to pay attention when he starts writing shorter works. There's probably a really good reason. You don't have to write your own books. Did you know that James Patterson doesn't write all his own works? Nope. In fact, he uses ghostwriters and writing partners to take his ideas and turn them into finished works. Later in this book, I'll share with you how to use ghostwriters and writing partners to launch your ideas into book form faster and more profitably as well. With a good writing team, you can launch a book in as little as 14 days. I'll show you how later. James Patterson has one of the most prolific launch tempos, launching at least one new book per month, simply because he has assembled a team to help and support him. He writes fiction and has a team. If you're in business where teams are the norm, it's worth considering who you need to bring into your world so that you too can produce high-quality books more quickly. We'll discuss in later chapters who the perfect publishing team members are. And as always, if you'd like me and my team to help you publish and scale your book, schedule a call to chat. peacefulprofits.com/call. One last point on how short books are better. I have found after 13 years of working with clients that the best clients are leaders. They may not manage a team, they may not have a huge following, but they lead in their own lives. They lead in their family. They lead in their community. I've also noticed, like many before me, that leaders are readers. I've yet to find a successful person who doesn't engage in reading of some kind. That means successful people like books, which makes using a book as a sales tool a great way to filter for the best kinds of clients. There's just one problem. Leaders are also busy. Really, really busy. They're busy with work, family, and in their community. The thing that makes them great as clients is exactly why you need to write shorter books. A friend of mine pointed this out to me years ago, and it's worth mentioning here. The only people who have time to sit through a 2-hour webinar are people with more time than money. If you're tired of broke prospects, you might want to look at how you respect the time of busy, successful people, and ask if your marketing is geared to their needs, or towards the more time than money crowd. This is why short books that can be consumed quickly are so powerful. They fit within the schedule of the most successful clients. They match the medium they enjoy consuming, books, and they can be consumed quickly. So, if your goal with the One Book Millions method is to attract the best possible clients, remember to keep it short and impactful. Success check-in exercise. Before we proceed with the rest of the book, let's first check in with where you're at right now with your ability to answer the 6 major questions your prospects have. Below, rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 5 on how accurate the statements are. 1 means not accurate at all, and 5 means most accurate. Once you've rated yourself for each statement, total up your scores and then use the answer key to determine your next steps. Success check-in statement. I can typically close a sale on the first or second call without pressure or overly aggressive sales tactics. My prospects are never surprised by the information I reveal on sales calls. My sales calls are natural, comfortable, and non-pressured because they don't have to be. I experience very little price resistance, even though I'm more expensive than my competitors. I regularly hear on sales calls that my sales process has been enjoyable, unusually non-aggressive for my industry, and that my prospects feel respected even if they say no. I spend more time interviewing prospects than defending my offer on sales calls. My calls are a filtering process for finding a good fit more than a true sales presentation. My sales calls are easy to outsource because they mostly involve answering easy-to-answer questions. My calls feel more like taking an order than making a pitch. My prospects are comfortable sharing my offer with their trusted advisors and have a rate of explaining my offer successfully to others. Prospects rarely, if ever, have the objection, "I need to do more research." Total up your score. What your score really means. Score 0 to 18. You are trying to do too much on your sales calls. Right now, you and your prospect enter your sales call environment blind. You don't know them, they don't know you, and so you have to work very hard to answer all 6 major questions before they'll answer yes. The problem is that you're trying to answer all those questions inside the limited time frame of a call. If you don't answer all 6 within the 45-minute appointment, you leave room for doubt. They might change their mind before you can follow up, or worse, they'll leave your call feeling something was missing and base their decision on that feeling alone. Your sales call should be the wrapping up and finalizing of the 6 major questions, not the first approach to answering them all. You need to write a book. Even if you don't use the One Book Millions method for selling your book, at least write one and give it to people to read before you get on a sales call. It will tremendously change the nature of your calls and improve your overall close rate by at least double. Score 19 to 27. Systemize your question answering if scale is the goal. You are doing a good job of answering some, but not all of the 6 major questions your prospects have before jumping on a call with you. For now, this might be fine. You might enjoy answering those last few remaining major questions on the call, but know that it's going to limit your growth. You'll have a tough time hiring salespeople or gaining efficiency in your call process if you have to carry the burden of answering the 6 major questions manually. Instead, look to a book and the One Book Millions method to do the heavy lifting for you, 24/7 and 365 days a year. If you already have a pre-selling method like a VSL, webinar, or email sequence, consider where your process currently has holes or gaps in answering the 6 major questions. Look also at your consumption rates. Increasing consumption is the fastest way to increase results on existing marketing assets. A short book that people pay to read will beat consumption rates on any free webinar, VSL, or email sequence. Consider adding one to your marketing soon. Score 28 plus. More books, please. I've been fortunate in life to have worked with mega gurus doing $100 million or more in online sales of their coaching and digital products. There's one lesson I've taken away from them all. You can never answer the 6 major questions too often or in too many different ways. Maybe you have a webinar that converts right now. What if you followed up with your webinar attendees and sold them a book? What if you launched a book to your email list right now and re-engaged them into your core ideas? What if you sold one book and you sold another in the back matter of the book? For the most skeptical prospects, having multiple options to learn about you, be exposed to your ideas, and ultimately have their questions answered in different ways is the only realistic and proven way to convert more of your audience. Here's an example. At the end of the day, what I do is help people scale their business by doing less. It's all I do. This book you're reading right now answers your 6 major questions about me and my stuff in a particular way by focusing on the One Book Millions method for scaling. But I also have books on outsourcing, systems, and creating million-dollar offers. They all lead back to a core set of offers and services, but each answers the 6 major questions a little bit differently. They each come at the problem with a new angle, new ideas, and present different options. This is where you are right now in your business. You are good at answering questions in one certain way, but now it's time to expand so you can pick up more of your audience and control more of the options your dream prospects are considering. You can do this very easily by simply writing a new book every quarter, launching a new One Book Millions method funnel to sell it, and rinse and repeat as needed. It's what we've done, and it's been the single most profitable thing we've ever done strategy-wise. Key chapter takeaways. There are 6 major questions that all prospects must have answered before they will even consider buying a premium offer from you. A short book is the most efficient and effective way to answer all those questions at scale. Question number 1. Is this right for me? With short books, you can easily illustrate your service or course's power in a non-spammy, non-aggressive way. Question number 2. Can I trust this information? A short book not only develops authority and trust in you as a person, but it is also an excellent vehicle for delivering information and then proving the truth of that information. Question number 3. Is this good value for the money? The most simple strategy for proving that what you do is valuable is to create a book that has a bunch of what you know about the thing you do. Question number 4. Can I trust this guy or girl? Build trust by offering value in advance. You could actually create an entire book without a single call to action, delivering only value, and still come away with higher conversion rates on those calls than any webinar that has ever been run. Question number 5. Are the benefits clear enough to justify to my spouse? Very few major purchases are ever made alone. You could have the most beautiful sales presentation of all time, but if someone cannot clearly and succinctly make a case for your product to their spouse or manager or team, then you will never get that sale. Question number 6. What are my options really? Giving options within your book that the readers could pursue if they aren't a good fit for what you do allows you to filter through potentially bad clients or customers. But it also actually endears those dream clients and customers to you because you are being so transparent.